Hello everyone, my name is Kieron Spoors and I'm reading law at the University of Cambridge and I'm part of Homerton College. I've just had finished my first term at Cambridge. I'm back home now for about 6 weeks and then I'll be heading back to Cambridge for my second term. This video, what I thought I would do is talk about my interview experience that I had when applying to Cambridge. And obviously, I would imagine many of you who might be watching might be applying to other universities or thinking of applying to universities in the near future. Each university works differently, so obviously I would advise you checking their websites and just getting the information that's relevant for the universities that you wish to apply to. Some of you might have already applied to universities. Some of you might even be going to interviews this year, haven't maybe already had them, or you're about to have them very soon. So I just wanted to first of all talk about my experiences, and then I want to give a bit of advice afterwards. And it's quite funny actually that I'm doing this video today. And the reason is, so at the time I'm recording this, it is the 6th of December 2018. 1 year ago, I was at Cambridge, so that would have been the 6th of December 2017. I was at Cambridge having my interviews and my Cambridge law test at Christ College. Christ College was the college that I applied to originally, and then obviously I was pulled from Christ College to Homerton College. So yeah, it's quite I think relevant that I do it, as the anniversary of my own experiences, but also and more importantly, this is the time that other people will be having their interviews for Cambridge and potentially for other universities as well. So to talk about my experiences, so 1 year ago, I went down on the 5th. I stayed overnight at Christ College. So they provided me with tickets that allowed me to have their meals there. The accommodation was really good. It was very spacious from what I can remember. But I was nervous, and I think I would imagine many others who are applying for interviews are in a similar situation. It is. For me, I didn't necessarily expect to get an interview offer for Cambridge, so I was nervous. But when I found, when I got there and on the day itself, everyone was helpful and supportive, and even everyone else who was applying for, everyone else who was there for interviews, were in the same situation, and we got good dialogue going. We were able to ask, which other, how did it go, and what did you think of it? So I think that definitely helped me. But I understand that obviously each person will have their own feelings and their own expectations and trepidations, and that's understandable. On the day itself, so the 6th of December, I first of all had my first interview. I had 2 interviewers in that one. And the kind of questions they wanted me to provide a response for was, for instance, they gave me a question on the law of contract, I believe. So it was, the idea that, obviously, I had never studied this area of the law before. So they wanted to see how I would respond to the questions that they gave to a novel, certainly to me, a novel area of the law. So it was like a problem question. They would ask you one question, but they might then, once you've answered that question, they might alter the original question to see kind of like if your response would change. They might, they offered alternative explanations or alternative ideas again to see if my response would change. I felt that first interview was quite good. I didn't at the time. I didn't want to be overconfident or anything, but I felt like that one was good. Certainly, at the end of the day, I felt like that first one was better than the second one, but I'll touch upon that in a moment. So that was the first interview. Afterwards, I had my Cambridge law test, so that was for an hour. I was at another part of the college, and for an hour, I had to pick one of the essay questions and to provide a response to it. So again, it was something that might not necessarily have studied. I probably didn't really study, but they wanted me to show yeah, what they wanted to see kind of like how I express myself in essays and how I put my arguments forward and how I consider the other side of the argument. So it's all about kind of like essay writing. I thought the question was good. From what I can remember, it was something on judges, I believe, which I was quite interested in answering. Afterwards, I had my pre-interview study time, so that was for 15 minutes. I was in a room, and I had to read from what I can remember as was a judgment. I had to read that for 15 minutes, maybe make some notes, think of what kind of questions I might ask, just to make sure that that 15 minutes is there to make sure that I would read through it and try to gain as much understanding of what I am reading. That then was followed by my second interview, and in that interview they asked me about the reading. So asked me different questions relating to what I've read. Probably expecting me to refer to the material in my answers to show that I've understood the material that they had provided. For me, I felt the second interview wasn't as good. It was partially because I didn't fully understand the material, but I did my best. I answered the questions to the best of my ability, and I tried to refer to the material when I thought it was relevant to do so. So that was the experience I had. Obviously, after all that, I felt unsure. I didn't want to be, like I said, be overconfident. I didn't want to say, well, that definitely went well or definitely went bad or anything. So I think I was cautiously optimistic. I felt like it did good, but I didn't want to be overconfident. So that was my own experience. So having talked about my experiences, I thought I would now give some advice on the interview process, attending interviews, preparing for interviews, things like that. For you to just bear in mind, when you go for your interviews, if you are to be having those interviews. So the first bit of advice I would give is make sure that you have done everything that you said on your personal statement. So and you remember, for those who don't know it, you will when you apply to universities, you will provide a personal statement, and that details what have you done. It'll detail how you've engaged with the subject that you're interested in studying. And the skills that you've gained, the insight you've gained. They want to kind of want to have that early indication of kind of like how you think and how your overall enthusiasm and interest in the subject. So quite often in personal statements, you might include a textbook that you've read, or an article that you've read, or a news report that you've read. For me, I included a book called What About Law. I said I'd read that, and I was interested particularly in a case that they referred to in that book, and so it was important for me to have made sure I fully had read that and to the best of my ability understood it. Because what they might do in an interview is they might ask you questions based on something from your personal statement. So they might say, you mentioned this this news article regarding X. Could you ever elaborate on that? What did you think of it? Do you think things could have been done differently or something like that? And so it's important that you've read that article, because if you haven't read that article, then you're going to be in a very awkward position and trying to be able to answer a question to something that you haven't read, or you read 2 months ago and then you've completely forgotten about it. So even if you have read it, it's a good idea just to quickly read through again, or just make some summaries when you initially read it, just so when you go back to it, that you can remind yourself of what it's about, just in case they ask you questions. The interviewers might ask you questions, they might not. It is up to the interviewer on the day, or the interviewers on the day. So that's my first bit of advice. The second bit of advice I would give is show your enthusiasm. You want to show that you are interested in studying the subject, so if it's law, history, politics, or natural sciences, whatever it is, you want to show that you actually have an interest to want that study, to want to study that particular subject at university. You want to potentially even have a career from that. So it's important that you show your enthusiasm in that interview. So how you show your enthusiasm, you show that by doing your best to answer those questions that we give them. They're not trying to catch you out. They're not trying to, say, they're not trying to, make you look stupid if you can't answer it. They're not trying to do that. Those questions will get challenging as the interview gets on. But what the idea of that is that they want to get you to think more. They want you to get you to interact with the subject more and interact with some of the key ideas and the key discussions that might be linked to that subject. So they're not trying to catch you out or highlight anything negative about you. What they're doing is they want to see how you think. So show your enthusiasm by doing your best to answer the question. Don't worry if your answer isn't perfect, and do your best, and that is the key. Just do your best in answering those questions. And if you're not sure, there's no shame. Don't if you're not sure about the question or you don't quite understand the question, you can ask them to clarify the question, or ask them to repeat the question if you didn't quite fully catch it the first time. And if you need more time to think about a particular question, think about your answer that you're going to give, just say to them, would it be possible if I could have a little bit more time on that? Could I have some time to think about it? And they will give you, they'll be happy to give you that time. They would rather you, take the time to think about the answer that you're going to give rather than rush into it without having given it really a second thought to it. So that's important. But also, linked to that, you don't want to be sitting in silence, staring into space and wondering what to do. Yes, spend that time to think, but also it's important. It's important in an interview to have that dialogue going. So they ask you a question and you're able to provide that answer, and you kind of effectively, depending on the subject, you'll be going back and forth and having that bit of debate or discussion on the particular topic that you're looking at or the particular idea that you're looking at. So yes, spend that time to think about it, but also you want to have that discussion as well. And the other bit of advice I would give is stay positive and stay calm. Now that is easier said than done. I was nervous. I found the experience quite daunting. But if you can stay calm, if you can just take your time for everything, don't rush everything. Just think. You've just whether it's Cambridge or a different university, the fact that you've even got to the stage of having an interview is quite an achievement. Even if I didn't get the offer for Cambridge, I knew it was quite an achievement to actually got to the stage of them being willing to have to do an interview with me. So appreciate that. But stay positive. And when the whole thing is over, don't worry if you think I've messed it up. That's it. Don't dwell on it. And when you've done it, you've done it. And it's important to stay calm and positive, and just to be patient for them to respond. Either offering you a place or telling you being pulled to another college, or even declining. But just appreciate that you've got to that stage. So good luck to everyone who's got interviews coming up this academic year or in future academic years. If you've had interviews already, I hope they went well. I'm sure they did. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a like. Comment in the comment section below if you've got any questions, if you want clarifying that I've said in this video. Please comment, and I can if you've got any queries about, or if you just want to ask get a little bit more detail about my experiences, I'm more than happy to answer those questions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You'll find my vlogs from the first term. There'll be more vlogs coming out in the second term. There will be also a video coming out on just a review of the first term. So how did I feel it went, discussing things like my social life, academic life, things like that. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to keep up to date, and follow me on Facebook and Instagram, the details which you'll find in the description below. So good luck to everyone. As it's December time now, so if I don't see you in the next video, have a lovely Christmas and a happy New Year.